It is. I suppose society loves to categorise people, fit them into nice, tidy boxes, whether you're a man or a woman, whether it's a certain age group, whether it's a certain gender. So it's convenient for people who write the stats, convenient for policymakers, but it creates divide, I suppose. So you can be labelled a young person, you can be labelled a Muslim or a Sikh, you can be labelled with things, and if you've got a label attached to you,
Right.
then people are going to stereotype you possibly on those labels.
On the flip side, do you think that Asians use the race card when it suits them?
Personally, no. The reason why I say that is Asians never invented that word race card.
You can call it whatever you want to.
You can call it what you like, but for somebody who's actually experienced racism and been a victim, for somebody to turn around and say, oh, he's just using the race card.
No, I'm not suggesting that real, actual racism doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're doing a whole show on racism, so it's a subject that needs to be discussed.
Hmm.
But I'm of the opinion that as a ethnic minority,
Yeah.
if something doesn't go our way, we're really apt to say, well, it's got to be because I'm Pakistani, it's got to be because I'm Muslim, or it's maybe because I'm Punjabi. Do you think we use that too often?
Though in any system, whether it's the race card, immigration, welfare, there'll be people that abuse the system. We have equality legislation. There will be individuals out there that abuse it, but it's a small minority of groups. If racism occurs, then it occurs and it needs to be dealt with appropriately. Yeah, individuals, I suppose, will use any card, whether it's a race card, gender card, sexual orientation card. But one thing that I strongly believe in is whatever the reason, it's got to be investigated properly.
Right.
Whether it's not racism in the end, fine, good and well. If it is, then we'll do something about it. But if somebody claims racism, then I think organisations have a duty to investigate it.
On a final note, what do you think is the way forward? What do you think we really need to do to move, to progress?
I thought we just need to be more open. We need to be in more mainstream organisations, whether it's in the media. I think we need to get into boardrooms, become chief executives, directors, etc., so that we are, we are gatekeepers in a way as well. And also in Parliament as well. I think it's important that
get involved in
Parliament,
politics.
in politics, and Parliament should reflect the society and the communities out there as well.
Great. Thanks. It's been really informative. And on that note, we'll be back right after these messages. Hi, welcome back to Broken Silence. I'm Sanyya Gardez. The issue at hand is racism. It's been over 50 years since Asians started immigrating to the UK, but how much progress did we really make? Debating this issue with me today is Brit, a single-issue campaigner, and Cameron Abbas, a journalism student. And Cameron, you were at the receiving end of racist 118 jokes.
That's right.
Can you tell us about that?
Basically, there's a joke request service that 118 offered, and we were at work, and we were bored, as you are. So we decided to ask for jokes, and then they sent us a couple of stupid ones like, why is George Bush banned from watching TV? Because he keeps pressing the red button.
Okay.
And they were quite funny. And then we got a distasteful joke, which it was very racist, and then we were quite shocked by that.
What was the joke?
Well, the first one that they sent was, what's the difference between E.T. and an Asian? E.T. got the message and went home. And we were just horrified by that, because we were like, 118 sent us that. You've seen the adverts, the acting stupid and stuff like that. And so we carried on. We asked for another couple. And
were you just seeing to see if that was the only racist joke that they had?
Yeah, so we deliberately asked them to send us a racist joke, and then they sent one. They said, how do you stop a Pakistani man from drowning? You take your foot off his head. And and after that, they must have realised their mistake, and they sent automated messages saying 118 does not send jokes of this nature.
They sent you those automated messages right after you received the racist jokes?
Well, a few texts later, when we kept requesting them, they said that we don't send jokes of this nature.
So what did you do? What did you do from there?
Well, from there, because I'm a journalism student, I knew, this was a story, and personally, I'm very passionate about standing up for equal rights, and I'm totally against things like that, so I'm the worst person that they could have sent it to. So I got in touch with my media contacts, and it was a news story by next day.
But Cameron, don't we, as Asians, when we're hanging out with our friends, say jokes like that?
Oh, possibly, and I'm not going to lie to you, I probably would, if I was with my mates, I would probably just giggle at that. But the fact that a company as responsible as 118 and as big as they are, international companies, send jokes like that is quite disgraceful, because if I wasn't an Asian person who wasn't offended by that joke, I would pass it on to my mates, and it's promoting racism.
Well, let me ask you something, and be as honest as
Yeah,
possible. If that joke wasn't a racist joke towards Asians, but say it was a different group, say it was against whites, or
How can it be against whites, though?
How can it not?
No,
racism isn't just against Asians. Us as Asians, when we're talking to our friends, we often joke in not a nice way about non-Asians.
It's the difference between doing it in between yourselves and having it sent to you.
Right.
So basically, I paid to get abuse.
Right. So what, did they then offer you an apology?
They offered me an apology, but they didn't sack the person who sent the jokes. So
what was their reasoning behind even sending that joke?
they said that they had a database from which they selected it from.
Just randomly, okay.
Yeah.
Manpreet, what do you think about that?
I think it's disgusting, personally. I mean, it's a national company that covers, the whole of the UK. Get you to send them a text for directory inquiries or whatever, and for you to request for a joke and then them send you a joke that's actually racist and
Are we just taking it too seriously, though? I mean, it is just a joke.
It is just a joke. I think
That's
one of
what you find funny.
Yeah, one of the my primary examples is there was a show, Goodness Gracious Me, I'm sure everybody remembers it, and it was Asians actively taking the mickey out of each other.
Right.
And I think, yeah, it's acceptable. People found that funny, I found that funny. It was one of my favourite shows. And a lot of people from the white community found that funny as well. But I think it's important where you've got, when you're providing a service to the community, to everybody regardless of race, you should leave race out of the picture. I mean, there's plenty of other jokes that aren't racist that they could have sent, so why choose to offend somebody?
But see,
because it's potentially going to offend somebody, so why send that in the first place?
Yeah, but is there really that big of a difference between being racist out in the open and sending somebody a joke that's racist and then doing it behind closed doors? I mean, it's still damaging whether you're doing it in a public forum, like sending somebody a joke, or you're doing it within yourself.
Yeah, it's like a separate topic. They talk about bullying online and stuff like that. Well, racism comes in different forms as well. You can do it online. If someone sends you a message saying, abuse, and it's racism, simple as. So if it's on a text message, it is still racism.
That company is providing a service to everybody, everybody in the United Kingdom. Say, for example, Abbas had a message sent to him about a white person. Cameron, sorry.
That's okay.
Cameron, yeah.
It is Cameron Abbas after all. So.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Sorry.
Okay, well, let me start again.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Say Cameron had a message sent to him about a white person. Okay, how do you stop a white person from drowning? Stop standing on his head. I mean,
it's still wrong.
It's just
still
the
wrong.
whole.
Would you then take an issue with it if that joke was sent to you? Would you have taken an issue with that?
It would look really wrong for me to take an issue with it.
Why? Racism is racism.
Racism is racism, but why would I get offended by that?
Just on principle.
Yeah, on principle.
I personally would find that offensive as well.
Yeah,
no matter what the race is.
I do have a couple of white friends, and if I showed them that joke, they'd be like, "You what?" So
I think
someone would stand for, make a stand for it.
I think we are touching on a quite sensitive issue, whether it was do we find offensive it, or whether it's the principle of it was racist in the first place. The principle is that yes, it was racist. They used somebody's ethnicity, somebody's race, whatever you want to call it, their identity, and use that in a derogatory way that made that person feel, that a Pakistani person is going to be a Pakistani's drowning or whatever, and they're using him, particularly a Pakistani. Why not just a normal person? Why not a man?
Right. Okay.
They were using the race as an example of.
So
we're taking the mick out of a person. We're taking the mickey out of a culture. We're taking the mickey out of Pakistani people.
It's not just political correctness just gone too far.
I think they were attacking Pakistani people in that joke.
In the